How good is Jordan Travis? Is he a top 5 quarterback in the ACC? A top 3 quarterback? Simple questions, but the answers might not be as easy. Hey everybody, this is Tom Lang with Warchant TV and Warchant.com, and we debated this very topic on the Jeff Cameron Show, which you can catch right here on Warchant TV weekdays at 1 o'clock. Before we get going with the debate, make sure to hit the like button underneath this video, subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already, because we've got the best FSU coverage in the business at Warchant TV, and we also have debates. So we hope you enjoy this debate that Jeff and I had about where Jordan Travis ranks in the quarterback hierarchy of the ACC. Here we go.
All right, so we were talking about Jordan Travis, where he ranks ACC quarterbacks. There you go, up to date. All right, you ready, Tom? Let's do the exercise. This feels a lot like W's and L's in June. It's not, but it could be critical to how we would do W's and L's, certainly.
J's and Travs.
Yeah, here we go. 2022 quarterback preview, ACC football at its finest, everybody. Let's lock it in. Let's start with, on everybody's mind, Boston College football.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Jurkovec. Okay, so here's the thing about Jurkovec. He's really good if he plays. He missed a boatload of games last year. Half of them? So if he plays, he's a better NFL prospect than Jordan Travis by a lot. Is he a better quarterback than Jordan Travis in college? Well, some of that has to do with what you have around you, obviously, and I would say he's a better passer of the football, that's for sure. Doesn't necessarily make him a better quarterback in college than Jordan Travis. I would tell you that Boston College is in trouble because they've lost a lot of offensive linemen. And if he's going to be behind a ragtag bunch up there, that's going to be a problem. He will not be as good as Jordan Travis, but I think he's a better talent.
Yeah, this is interesting. So
it is.
You could define your terms by NFL prospect.
The answer feels much bigger in terms of an NFL prospect.
College football player in a vacuum, or who can do more with less? Because that's what the Jordan Travis question is about. And that's why I have a hard time, sometimes when you pick on Jordan, and I hear why, because
he gives you ample reason.
Yes, and you judge him you go judge by professional circumstances.
No, he's not always great in college playing football either.
I agree. However, given the set of circumstances here in Tallahassee,
agreed,
you can't do much better if you took most kids from this conference.
Yeah, and
plug them into Florida State's situation. Not many of them, if any, maybe one or two, would put you in a better position to win consistently with the surrounding cast that Florida State has.
Oftentimes, I have immediately followed up my criticisms because you guys push back so much on this with, I'm not telling you it's all his fault. I'm not saying, I acknowledge the extenuating circumstances by which he's trying to operate under. I mean, I do. And I always point out that I think he's a gamer. I think that, there are plays he can make with his feet, you're right, that nobody else in this league can make.
And that he has to here.
And he especially has to here, yeah. I think my criticism of him is certainly as a passer, and then secondly, I think, in a weird way, the reason Jordan probably gets the bulk of my ire when I talk about Florida State quarterback play, A, he happens to be the starter, but B, I think he represents how far we have to go. He ought not be a starter at Florida State. He ought not be. That's not his fault, but he ought not be if we're operating anywhere near peak efficiency.
Right, and it's a chicken or the egg, because I'll be the other side of the yin-yang. He represents the only reason on offense that we're as close as we are in the current circumstances. Right. Now, that's changing. We're getting better players now at each position group. We're getting better players.
Not a lot better.
Agreed, which is why he represents all at the same time the wrong thing and the only reason we're so close, as close as we are. Not so close, but as close as we are to the right thing.
Let me ask you, would you rather have DJ Uiagalelei at Clemson?
No.
Well, okay.
Easy. That one's easy.
I don't know about that.
That dude is so affected by a pass rush. He would be...
I don't know how, because he's gigantic.
He would leave the program after the Duquesne game and say, what is this?
Well, if we can't block Duquesne, Tom, then we all need to leave the program.
My point is that dude is so affected by even the idea of a pass rush.
Yeah, he was a year ago. It didn't make any sense. After you saw what he did to Notre Dame on the road and what he did to Boston College and all that, I mean, there were games where he got opportunities to play, and he looked like the second coming of yet another first-round draft pick at quarterback for Clemson.
Would I want the potential of him? Sure. But what I saw last year, no, give me Jordan. The only reason that they lost a football game last year, well, maybe not in the playoff to Georgia, but the only reason, I mean, think about that. Georgia scored a defensive touchdown. So he's partially responsible for the only touchdown Georgia scores.
It's the first game of the year for them, and they're going against that Georgia defense, which turned out to be historically dominant. I mean, easy.
But they only lost 2 games.
I know 3 games, I thought.
Or was it 3? Okay, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If he's an average version of himself, that Clemson team is in the playoff. There's no doubt about it. He's the only reason they weren't.
They were a mess, and their offensive line was terrible. I wouldn't say he was the only reason. He was bad, but that offensive line was bad. And I told you before the season, I thought their offensive line was going to be bad.
They went to Pumachan, and that wasn't, I mean, that's how desperate they were. They said, this guy can't do it.
Well, this time it'll be the Cade Klubnik kid that'll come in, and he may be in sooner rather than later. I don't disagree with some of what you're saying there about him. It's hard to rank. What do you do in that situation?
Who would I, based upon all that I know to this point, if I've got to have DJ lining up for Florida State with those other 10 players or Jordan, I'm taking Jordan. Based upon what I've seen so far, both their careers?
I'm going to fast forward to the nitty gritty.
All right.
Would you take Jordan Travis over Malik Cunningham?
An interesting question. Because we don't beat Louisville of late.
No. And he's a big reason why we haven't.
So, 2 years ago, so was that defense. I mean, Christmas. You've got Travis J lined up in the slot again. I mean, what is that?
I'm saying, are we giving credit to the quarterback, or are we citing our horrific play on defense, or both?
I'm saying that clouds our perspective on who the quarterback is, our poor play on defense.
I'm just going to tell you, last year, Malik Cunningham threw for like 20 touchdowns and threw 6 interceptions and threw for nearly 3,000 yards and ran for over 1,000. He was better than Jordan Travis.
If you give Jordan Travis the wide receivers that Louisville has, and by no means are they wide receivers that are going to, kick down the door to the top 10 of the NFL draft. They're infinitely better than our situation here. The offensive line for Louisville was better than our situation at offensive line here.
When we're done making excuses, we're going to say Malik Cunningham is better than Jordan Travis.
I don't believe that.
I believe he is, but I believe Jordan, if he improves as a drop-back passer this year with better protection and, as you noted, marginally better weapons, he could surpass Malik Cunningham. But I think as we go into this season, you'd have to say Malik Cunningham's been the better player.
Yeah, you have to say that. But that's not the same thing as saying that if you plug him in our roster last year that we win more than 5 games. I don't think that's true. Would
we both say that Devin Leary is definitely a better player than Jordan Travis? Okay, yeah.
You could just say Dev. I was like, yep. Mm-hmm, yep,
okay.
That guy. Yep.
I think Jordan's better than Garrett Schrader.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But he's not better than Sam Hartman. He's not. So just keep moving.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not better.
No, look. Yes, in a vacuum as a quarterback, there's no doubt. I'm just trying to plug Sam Hartman quickly into our offense, and I think our offense would run better with Sam Hartman. So, yeah. Okay, fair.
Well, I would hope you'd say that since he threw for over 4,000 yards and 39 touchdowns.
Right,
he's a better player.
I'm thinking about him in our offense with all the problems that we have. Receivers don't get open. We don't block. Player. We don't. But that matters.
Yeah. Now, I don't know who the hell Riley Leonard is, but he's supposed to start for Duke. I'm going to give the nod to Jordan Travis. Yeah. I think Jordan Travis is better than Jeff Sims. He's not better than Tyler Van Dyke. Better. Keep it moving. Not even close. Drake May is going to start allegedly for North Carolina. I'll give it to Jordan there.
Mm-hmm. He's 2-0.
The Slavis kid, the USC transfer, is battling it out at Pitt.
It's an incomplete grade. You have no idea who that is.
We don't know. Brennan Armstrong's the kid at Virginia who was really, really good. And there, by the way, he led the ACC in total offense last year. Did you know that?
No, but I'd still take Jordan Travis.
That just sounds like it.
No, because that tells me that the Virginia offensive situation is infinitely better. I just always have to come back to reminding folks that you don't have an offensive line that can block. They're not good at run blocking. You're good at scheming up long running plays, and you don't have receivers that can separate and get open. Yeah. These are like all the things a quarterback needs to succeed. So plug him into an average offense. Jordan Travis to an average offense.
But you think Virginia's offense was in no way prolific. It was mainly on Armstrong to get it done last year. We'll see.
Is it better than our offense? Well, it's got to be because it exists. It's better than in terms of the options for a quarterback.
This is interesting. That's one hell of a backhanded compliment to Jordan Travis. Their offense has to be better because it exists, according to you, and yet Jordan Travis is the one who runs this offense.
I'm saying that Jordan Travis is a magician to help us get to the upper 20s and lower 30s, along with the capability of this offense to create angles because he can't block people straight up.
Alex Atkins and the play calling of, let's go with Mike Norvell here, and Alex Atkins in creating angles in a run game.
Yes.
That is
You're a one-dimensional offense, and yet you create 80-yard runs or 40-yard runs a game. Like that's incredible. But that also is in large part due to the fact that you're scared bleepless of Jordan Travis' legs, because it doesn't happen as frequently if Mackenzie Milton or Tate Rodemaker's your quarterback. The hope is that the supporting cast is now ACC average, because if it is, then you should see an uptick in Travis production.
Jordan should have his best season by far since he's been the starter. I still say that would put him 6th or 7th best in the ACC. That would put him behind Devin Leary. I would put it behind Van Dyke. It would put it behind Hartman. I think it puts it behind Malik Cunningham. You don't agree with that. We kind of agreed about Jurkovec.
That's a no in terms of right here, right now in college. Drafting, if I'm a GM, give me Phil. Give me Phil. But the here and now about who can produce the magic number. What's the magic number from Corey's article? Is it 31.7?
Yeah.
Something like that. Who has a better chance to produce 31.7 in a given week? Plug and play. It's Jordan.
I think you could plug and play Brennan Armstrong here and do the same type thing. So I think it's the same thing. So I think there's 5 or 6 guys.
I'd say that there are 3 definitive guys, and then he's in the mix with the next wave.
Between 4 and 8?
Yep.
I won't yell at you there. I'm just glad we agreed.
It's okay. I've been yelled at before.
I'm just glad we agree that he's better than Schrader.
Yeah, we do.
And
we need to do a better job of stopping that kid this year.
Grant Wells is the starting quarterback at Virginia Tech, if you're wondering at home. And we didn't touch on him because he's coming over from Marshall. He threw 22 picks there.
Oh, man. I was going to say that name could work. That's either a name that you laugh at or like Garrett Schrader. There's no two ways about that name. But Grant Wells, that's an interesting name. That could be a really good one. Or
Grant Wells threw for over 5,000 yards. I just pulled it up here.
There you go. See?
Yeah, he did a lot of things.
He's boom and bust. That name reeks of boom and bust.
There may be another quarterback to surpass Jordan Travis this year. After all,
there we go.
Brennan Armstrong.
There's the delight I was waiting for.
Keaton Slovis. You never know. See what this Drake May character is doing. We know Tyler Van Dyke is definitively better. We know, Sam Hartman is. We agreed.
See, you almost sound happy about these guys.
I'm not happy. I just, he's got to get so much better in obvious passing downs. He has got to. And I'm rooting, obviously, for him to do that. I didn't get the evidence I needed in spring that we're going to see it. Every day we walked out of there, people would say to me that in some way, in an ancillary way, there would be this mention somehow that Jordan Travis is having a good spring. I don't know that I concur, is what I would say. I didn't think, he's having a bad spring. I just thought he looked like the same guy we've seen.
I thought he looked more in command of
it's his team,
the offense and the team. So you could see him carry himself a little bit differently.
I agree with that.
I think also the hard part about spring is they know what he can do in live action. You're not going to do that for multiple reasons.
And you're going to make him
camp set.
Well, and then this is a good point you're making, because one of the reasons at times that he looked average was they wouldn't let him run around. They basically would blow the whistle.
And nor is it a good barometer. He's in a green jersey. You're not going to make him live. Right.
But also, I would.
Who does that anyway?
Well, and for that reason alone, I wouldn't let him run around because A, nobody's allowed to hit you, so there's no real threat if you start running.
Unless your name's Purdy.
And then B, I want him to have to throw the football, even in situations where in the game you'd say, go ahead and run. Here, I wanted him to throw the football. That's what spring is for.
Correct.
Throw the football. And they did that.
How many pages can I add to my playbook?
Right.
That's what the journey is.
But I don't think you walked out of spring going, oh, man, we were really opening it up now.
No, there are a few more wrinkles. There are a few more, but not as many as I would have hoped. But I don't know that you need that many with him. Because, again, what he brings to the table with a receiver who can win a 50-50 battle and create 2 feet of separation once in a freaking, football game will put you in a better position to convert on the 3rd and 6 that you need. And then you'll feel better about him. But I don't know that he changed at all. I think it might just be the player on the outside that might be better.
Humble, whoever that is on the chat, says he doesn't think Van Dyke is better.
Ooh. Well, that certainly is an opinion.
It certainly is. And he's basing it on the Miami game that we won here.
Put our offense up against our defense last year, and I don't know. I don't know that Jordan would produce as much as TVD did. But Tyler was rattled in the first half.
Without question. Yeah. 2 things that happened to Tyler Van Dyke in that game. A, obviously, on the road rivalry game and crazy amounts of wind, struggled to adjust. Yep. Then caught fire, led them all the way back to take the lead, and made throws Jordan hasn't dreamt of making. Secondly, go back and look beyond just our one game. Go look at him play the game against other teams.
Right.
Go look at the numbers. Go look at
That's
part
how
of the reason
his coach got fired.
And go look at where we think he's going to be. Listen, I hate Miami with a passion.
Yeah.
Nothing felt better than to win that game as improbably
and
as
they should be embarrassed that they lost with that quarterback disparity, that they lost that football game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And by the way, that's great. I hope Jordan Travis goes on to be a much better player this year. He won't be. Van Dyke is a better player.
Yeah. No, you're not going to get it. There is no argument to make on that one.
I actually don't even think it's close.
But, hey, you know what? If you beat him once, who knows?
If you beat him this time, you'll beat him in his backyard. Well, 45 minutes away from the campus. You'll have pulled it off.
Is that how far it is?
It's a ways. It's a ways, yeah.
Do you think they'll ever spend money on their own football field now that they've got all this they've got all this extra money to float around? Might put a stadium on campus.
They're trying, but they have to knock down a high school that is filled with rich people that
is that legitimately what's going on?
Yes. So those people are like, screw you.
Please let us out of the building first. That's what they're asking.
They're not. No. It's going to be more difficult than they realize.
I heard they're expanding their IPF though. I mean, like legitimately, I read that they're
trying to make it 100 yards and have a legitimate
yards. Yeah.
I hope. Listen, and again, I'd like to see Jordan Travis make the jump that everybody needs him to make. Norvell needs him to make. His teammates need him to make. He has to have it if he wants to play beyond his college years. We need it as fans. We all need it. I hope it happens. Big time hope it happens because I have nothing against him. I think he's a good kid who works really hard. I hope he stays healthy. That'd be nice. And I don't just mean on the field. He has to stay healthy enough to practice every day. Yeah. You can't have extended stretches where he's not practicing because all that happens is then we double down on special teams practice, which leads to nothing. Secondly, your starting quarterback is not getting reps with the ones. It's of vital importance that he get every one of those reps as a work in progress. It's not like you have a 3-year starter returning who's proven time and again in game situations that he can make throws on obvious passing downs where the defense knows 3rd and 7, he's going to have to fit it into a window. He hasn't had that. So he has to have this time.
For me, I think he could marginally improve, but if you have Pittman, Winston Wright gets back and plays this year, and Benson is the truth with a better offensive line, it only needs to be marginal improvement, and you're going to feel like there's a leap when maybe there isn't.
I hope there is. I'm rooting for the kid. I like him a lot. It's also our last gasp. I mean, it has to happen.